What's up, YouTube? Jeff back again from highonandroid.com. And today we're going to get into my full review of the HTC One M9. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, what are my thoughts about the HTC One M9 and how does it compare to the Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge? So I did a really big full review of the S6, and a lot of people messaged me and asked in the comments, when are you going to do one for the M9? Well, I've been a bit busy lately doing some projects at the university, teaching, doing some research. So I haven't had time to go through and shoot all the clips, 4K footage, and everything that I did for the S6. I shot some 4K footage which I plan to upload from the M9 so you guys can see what it looks like. But I figured I'd go through today and talk about my impressions of the phone, even if I can't go through and do the nice, pretty editing, what I would call the artistic YouTuber review of the M9. So today you're going to get sort of the bare bones M9 YouTuber review, which means you're going to get my true opinion about the phone without all the glitz and glamour of the various shots. So I'm sort of a hybrid kind of guy between MKBHD and all those guys. My quality is not anywhere near as good in that I want to learn how to make better videos, but I also want to give you my straight up 100% opinion about whether or not you should buy these phones. Kind of like my favorite YouTuber, which is Flossie Carter. He does that in every single review. And just like Floss, I spent my own money on all the products that I'm buying. So far, I haven't bought any, got any sponsorships or anything for any of these products. I'm just a guy who really loves tech, and I spend a lot of money on tech products anyway, so I figure why not start making some videos so people can enjoy, getting the benefits of what I learned the hard way, sometimes buying products that don't work, and also some of the joy of buying the products that do work. So let's talk about the HTC One M9. I did the unboxing of this. If you remember, this is the developer edition that I got straight from HTC. So we took a look at the box. You can see back of the box, I went through the specs. The phone itself has got a fantastic build on it. So the first thing about the phone, the build on this phone is great. And I'm probably going to take some hate within the Android community maybe for saying this, but I think the HTC One M9's build is higher quality than the build on the Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge. I prefer to have the metal wrapped all around the phone and have this nice metal feel everywhere to having the glass on the back. Don't get me wrong, the glass on the back of the Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge feels fantastic. There's nothing wrong with the glass back, feels great. But this metal feel from HTC, it's got this beautiful look on the metal. You can see the light hitting the metal. It looks fantastic. And then the two-tone around the side, I've come to even like that even more. You can see on my particular phone, you've got the gold on the silver, the gold around the edges. And HTC actually improved how the phone feels in your hand from the M8 to the M9. So on the M8 felt nice and slippery because you didn't have any shelf to hold on to around the edges of the phone. But here, you have this extra little shelf around the edges that makes the M9 easier to grip, make sure it doesn't slip out of your hands. So if I grab my M8 here, just to see the differences, you can see around the edges of the M8, there is no shelf here that sort of helps you grip it, to hold on to it, so it slides around in your hand. But on the M9, you can see there's this extra little border, which I'm calling a shelf, that helps you keep it in your hand and helps it easier to hold on to. So the curvature is a little reduced on the back, and that along with the shelf makes this phone much easier to hold, which of course is great if you're not going to use a case, which I can understand why you wouldn't want to use a case because this phone has got a beautiful feel in the hand. So in terms of the improvements to the body, it's very similar to the M8. Obviously, if you look at the two phones again, side by side, some people might have a hard time telling the difference between these two phones. But for me, I think the improvements that HTC did make to the phone, namely making it easier to hold in the hand and also giving you this nice premium two-tone option, those were enough for me in order to upgrade and feel like I got my money's worth in terms of the build. The next thing about the HTC One M9 that I really like is the software. So the software on this phone is running Sense 7.0, and Sense 7.0, in my opinion, is a lot smoother than TouchWiz on the S6 and the S6 Edge. So it's still a lot smoother. So don't get me wrong, the S6 and the S6 Edge, they've got a nice smooth experience now. TouchWiz is much improved. But on this phone, you don't get any hiccups. Sense is just super fluid with Lollipop. It's really easy to use. It's a fantastic experience in terms of the Android operating system running on here. HTC has added some features that makes this phone even better than it was on the M8. So Sense 6.0 was really nice already. It already had a great number of features and it run nice and smoothly. But now HTC has added even more features in so that this phone is even easier to use. If you take a look inside here, I went through some of them in my video with the dot view case. So I went through the dot view case. That's one thing that they've added a lot of features to that makes your phone even more appealing. The other thing that HTC has added in here, if you go to the personalized options, is that they've added the ability to add themes. So if you want to change a theme for your phone, you can go through and actually theme your entire phone by doing that from inside the personalization menu. So you can actually see that if you look inside my particular phone here, let me just go through and show you where the theme I have is. This is the Orbit UI theme, so you can see there are a lot of different choices there. The theme that I have selected right now is the Orbit UI theme. It changes your icons and your wallpaper and everything about the phone to be in line with the theme. So I really like the themes on here. It's a nice way for people who don't want to deal with icon packs and various personalization options to still get some personalization. One thing you can see though is that it doesn't theme all of the icons. So if you're someone like me who uses a lot of apps, you still might be better off getting a custom icon pack, because you can see here in the Orbit UI theme, Android Auto is not themed, and that's even a Google app. But, you know, and also GSAM battery monitor, those apps are not themed, and that sort of looks a little strange when you have some apps that are themed and some apps that are not. So that's a little annoying. So you might want to get an icon pack if you're a more advanced user. But for people who are basic users, that's definitely a nice thing to have. And Sense 7.0 also now allows for you to use Lollipop, of course, which gives you all of the great material design, all of the animations that you have when you have Lollipop. And Lollipop runs fantastic on this phone. To be honest, I really am enjoying it. So you can see that no matter where I go, there's no lag. And even here you can see one of the other features, the staples of HTC, of course, is Blink Feed. Even using Blink Feed, it's a seamless experience swiping across the screen, opening up my, going back and forth, opening up my apps. Everything is pretty much instantaneous on this phone. So in terms of the software experience, I'm going to say the HTC One M9 is the winner over the Galaxy S6 and the S6 Edge, just because the HTC One M9, I haven't had a single bit of lag when I've been using this phone. This phone has been virtually lag-free, whereas with the S6 and the S6 Edge, I still experience the occasional lag from time to time. So what else do I like about this phone? The boom sound speakers, they're fantastic. If you play music on the boom sound speakers, you're going to hear that these speakers are incredibly loud for a phone. So let me open up my SoundCloud, and actually, just to do a little test, I'll go through here and play the beginning of this song that I played on the Galaxy S6 test. So let's see if we can hear it. If I turn up the volume a bit, we can listen to this song, and you guys can hear how loud it really is on this guy. There we go. Turn that all the way up so you can hear it.
Call it dots and hoes, not the ladies. It's a difference. Check it out. I need a lady, not a die to remind you. Ladies want to be black queens, and dots want to be black shine. Ladies like a man who work hard with some drive. That's like fuck that.
To be honest with you, these boom sound speakers sound just as good as if you have a small Bluetooth speaker. When it comes to the speakers on this phone, it's really not even a comparison between the M9 and the S6 and the S6 Edge. The M9, the speakers just blow away. These speakers, fantastic, and there's nothing else you can say about it. if you want a phone that has the best speakers, you got to get the M9. The next thing that I will say about the HTC One M9 is that the camera, yes, the camera is a bit of a problem still. I'm willing to admit that. That is the one place where this phone is a little weak. And if you check out the 4K footage that I upload later, you're going to see that the camera itself does great in good lighting, but if you take a look at the camera in poor lighting, you're not going to see nearly the same results. So I'll show you guys a couple of great shots I got here just while we're looking. If you check out this shot, this was taken in the middle of the Arizona sunlight. You can see the Arizona sun there, providing a great backdrop to take this picture of this flower that I found when I was at a strip district one day. And let's take a look at a few more. I've got a few more flower pictures. This one has a little less light, but you can still see the flowers that had good light there. The picture is still fantastic quality. And I got a close-up shot, and you can see the HTC One M9 can capture great detail with the 20 megapixel camera if you have sufficient light. Another shot close up. And here's one in a little bit lower light. You can still see now that with the lower light, you're not capturing nearly as much detail. The M9's not quite as good, and a little bit lower light. You can see that these shots, sort of the quality decreases proportional to the amount of light that I decreased in the shot. So yes, I have to admit, as other people have said who've reviewed this phone, the camera itself is fantastic. And here's actually an indoor shot that I took. Here's an indoor shot that was taken of some food that I ate at Noodles & Company, some pasta. You can see the low light shots are not the best in the world. So let's get back into talking about the HTC One M9. I was talking about the camera. The camera on this phone, as I mentioned, is fantastic in great light. But if you have a low light shot like the one I showed you guys here of the pasta that I was eating at Noodles & Company, the detail is not that great. And overall, the M9 does not perform fantastically in low light. So yes, the S6 and the S6 Edge, they definitely win that battle, but that doesn't make up the whole phone. Another thing that I really enjoy about the HTC One M9 is that the battery on this phone is really good for the size. So this phone has a relatively large battery, and in addition, my real world testing, this phone has lasted me all day, every single day. And I go pretty hard on social media, answering a lot of emails from working at the university, a lot of research emails, things for our website, highonandroid.com. Shane Starr, and Zito Max are always talking on Slack. I use a lot of apps throughout the day, and when I use this as my main driver, this phone worked all day. So you can see here, today I charged up the phone so I could do this review. I got 90%, so that's not a fair comparison. But I've taken this phone off the charger on the days I use it as my main driver, and then I've had a battery left of about at least 35 to 40% when I get home around 6:30 or 7 from my office at the university. By comparison with the Galaxy S6 and the Galaxy S6 Edge, I've been experiencing battery life. So my battery life on the S6 and the S6 Edge has been, by the time I get home at 6 or 6:30, I have maybe 10% left. Maybe my phone is dead and I needed to actually charge it on my way home in the car, or maybe I needed to charge it in my office at the university. But overall, the battery life on this phone has been fantastic. And so one tip, if you actually have an HTC One M9, you want to measure your battery life, if you go in here and check out the battery life menu, you'll notice that history and battery usage, they don't give you the option to determine the screen on time. How much is that taking away from your battery? That's something people are interested in. But if you go download the GSAM battery monitor here, this app that I have, the GSAM battery monitor app will let you monitor your screen on time and what percentage that is. So you can see I've already had the screen on for almost 15 minutes. That's not that bad. I'm getting a lot less, maybe 2 hours on the S6 and the S6 Edge. So if you're going hard on your phone, 2.5 hours versus 2 hours is a big difference in general. This battery life actually is one of the reasons why I really enjoy this phone a little more than the S6 and the S6 Edge. The other thing that I want to talk about with the HTC One M9 is that this phone, at least for me, this is a big deal. It works with Android Auto. So I've been using Android Auto. I got a Pioneer head unit. The review on that is still coming. It's taking a little bit of time because I've got to set up my camera in my car to do that review, but I'm going to review the Pioneer NEX 4100 Android Auto unit. But this thing works with Android Auto. If you plug it into your Pioneer unit, it's going to work. The S6 and the S6 Edge, they do not work with the Android Auto head units yet, at least not the Pioneer models. So for me, that's been a really big deal because I bought this expensive head unit. Obviously, I want to be able to use it with one of my new expensive phones that I bought, and the S6 and the S6 Edge, they can't do that. So the M9 for me, that's been a pretty big deal. So overall, when I think about this phone, I have to admit that HTC did not try to change that many things from last year to this year. The M9 doesn't have a curved screen. It doesn't have a bigger display. It doesn't have any new fancy features. They really didn't improve the camera that much, admittedly, from the previous model. But what HTC did do with this phone is they kept the software experience really fluid. There's no lag at all. They kept the amazing boom sound speakers. They added in a couple of nice software features that make the phone easier to use for a beginning Android user, like themes. They kept a cool feature in the dot view case, which any user is going to want to show off to their friends. So if you haven't seen my review of the HTC One M9 dot view case, here's the dot view case. That's a great feature for this phone. Go check that out. In addition, since there's no lag, the battery life is good. This phone is a pleasure to use all day. And one other thing that HTC did that doesn't have to do with the phone itself, but actually has to do with their customer service. If you remember, I showed this when I unboxed it. You have this uh-oh protection. So this was a big sell of the M9. If you break your M9, you get water damage, you crack the screen in the first 12 months, they're going to give you a brand new M9. If you do that to your S6, you're going to need insurance, or you're going to have to pay a full $800, $600, whatever, to replace your phone. That's expensive. And if you don't use that replacement, they're going to give you $100 towards the next HTC phone, the M10. So that's really, really nice. And this is a big part of it, is this extra customer service. So at the end of the day, what's my verdict on the HTC One M9? HTC did a few things that I didn't like. Basically, they could have improved the camera more. They probably could have taken a few more risks with the design. And they should have gave us a built-in fast charger in our box. This thing has fast charging, but the charger doesn't come with it. Who wants to pay extra money for an extra charger that after you already have one in your box, why not give us the fast charge? That's ridiculous. But aside from those things, HTC kept a formula that worked on the M8 from last year. They improved the build quality in some slight ways, and they kept a great user experience and gave us better battery life. So for me, personally, I think the HTC One M9 is a better all-around Android phone than the S6 or the S6 Edge. I'm probably going to take some hate from the Android community. I'll probably even take some hate from the guys at HiOnAndroid.com because I know they both love the S6 quite a bit. But even though HTC didn't drastically improve the phone, this phone is still fantastic. The build is beautiful. The phone is nice and fluid. I've never had any lag with this phone. If you use it every day and you need to get your information quickly, not having any lag is going to be really important to you. So unless you have to have a camera that's the best in the smartphone world, which is possible, maybe you do need that, but unless you need that, this is a phone that's going to give you a better overall software experience and overall package and overall battery life, overall sound from your speakers. So everything about this phone, other than the camera in my opinion, is comparably good to the S6. So yes, the screen isn't as high a resolution, but the 1080p screen looks great. It's bright. Even in the Arizona sun, I can see everything on the screen. So in terms of the screen quality, yes, I can tell the S6 looks a little better, but does it look so much better that you're willing to sacrifice battery life and completely buttery smooth operating system? That's really up to you. To me, I like the fact that my apps launch every single time without hiccups when I'm using the M9. So of course, the S6, the S6 Edge, the M9 are all great phones. Overall, these are just my thoughts on the HTC One M9. I like it actually better than the S6 and the S6 Edge because for me, having a fluid phone that does everything is a little more important than the camera. That's easy for me to say because, of course, I have my DSLR, I have a GoPro, I have multiple other phones. So, of course, in the end, my advice to you is find out what's most important to you. If the camera is a must-have, top quality, even in low light, you got to get the S6. If you got to get your information quick all day, you need a responsive phone with great battery life that still has a beautiful build, this is the phone for you, no doubt about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed my thoughts on the HTC One M9. I apologize that I couldn't make a nice artsy YouTube video for you. I'm going to try to do that in some more reviews. I was pretty happy with my S6 video. Took me a lot of time though with a lot of clips trying to learn how to use Premiere Pro better. But I hope you guys enjoyed my 100% truthful thoughts on the M9, sort of using this guy for a while. I'm going to be back with, of course, a lot more case videos. I got a lot more other products that are coming up. I appreciate you guys watching the channel. I'm going to post the 4K footage that I shot with the M9. I'm also going to do a comparison between the M9, the S6, and the S6 Edge, so you can sort of see side by side what are some of these things that I've discussed when I was talking about some of the trade-offs here in this video. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please like it. And if you enjoy the content I've been bringing you, please subscribe to my channel. I'll have a lot more great tech coming up. Please let me know if there's anything you guys want to see, and I'll be happy to look into possibly reviewing those products. And also I wanted to mention that I'm getting close to 100 subscribers. So when I get 100 subscribers, I'm going to do some giveaways, some case giveaways. I've got a few Moto 360 things I want to give away, a few Nexus 9 cases I want to give away that I actually never used. So we're going to do a few giveaways when I get to 100 subscribers. So tell your friends to subscribe and come check out my videos. All right, well, I appreciate you guys checking out my thoughts on the M9. You guys have a fantastic weekend. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.